Hi, this is Scott at supportbahrainrights.com, and Sharif Basioni has made some more disturbing comments in another recent interview. He basically has stated that this is in an article that was in Al Ayam News, and he stated that he could not find evidence proving crimes against humanity in Bahrain. He said that for crimes against humanity to occur, there needs to be a systematic element of state policy. And because he could not find an order from a minister, a military commander, or a police chief, or an agreement between leaders, you did not have proof of state policy. Therefore, there is no evidence for crimes against humanity. I'm amazed that it has gotten to this point. I thought with the first video, where I emphasized how widespread the torture was and how well known it was and for how long it was going for, that in itself would be very strong evidence that the state knew about the torture and deliberately allowed it to happen. But Basioni is denying that, saying you need an explicit agreement. What I would like to say in response is we have additional evidence that this was indeed state policy. What is that evidence? The torture did not occur in a void. The torture was often used to force confessions out of people, and these confessions were aired publicly on TV, and they were used in court, and people in court complained about it, and the judges threw them out. So you have torture, and this was documented for years by Human Rights Watch. Torture being used by state agents in state courts and being aired publicly on state TV. And this was occurring for years. And to say that that is not evidence of a state policy is absolutely astounding. In addition, Basioni is referring to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. And I'm going to have a link to it below, and there's also a link to it in Arabic as well. And he's referring to Article 7 about crimes against humanity. Article 7 also includes enforced disappearances of persons. And it says that an enforced disappearance is where they refuse to give information on the fates or whereabouts of persons with the intent of removing them from the protection of the law, which is exactly what happened in Bahrain in their brutal crackdown, and which is what they used in order to provide cover so that state agents could torture people for months. So you not only have very strong proof of state policy, the fact that torture is being used to extract confessions legally and publicly, and the state actually in court was resisting attempts by people to bring that up, but you also have enforced disappearances as an explicit item as a crime against humanity, which was practiced on a widespread basis in Bahrain. So I find it absolutely incredible, absolutely astounding that he could actually try to come to that conclusion. Now, I'm going to, I might have to make a second video because YouTube usually only gives 10 minutes. I'm going to refer to a number of cases. Physicians for Human Rights, they documented, they interviewed people and documented cases in their report. The report is called Do No Harm, and they documented a few cases of torture wounded patients being tortured in the hospital to extract confessions on video. There is also Ali Isa Saker, who he was tortured to death, but before he was tortured to death, they videotaped. But before he was actually dead, they videotaped him in a confession and aired it on TV, and that was most likely done under brutal torture because you could see the way his body was afterwards. There was also Ayet Al-Kormozi, the poet, who they also aired her confession, and later on in an interview, she publicly stated that she was pressured to confess under torture and under threats, and I'm going to have a link to that as well. There is also Abdul Hadi Al-Khawaja. They threatened to rape him. The security threatened to rape him. In fact, they were making attempts to rape him, and he had to beat his head against the wall to finally knock himself unconscious to stop it. He tried to bring that up in court, and the judge tried to throw him out for saying that. You have doctors who also, Al-Ekri, he brought this up in court, that his confessions were made under torture, and the military judge cut him off and threw him out, as well as other doctors. You also have a human rights report called Torture Redux, which had actually, Torture Redux, and actually the introduction of the report on the net, it says, it concludes since the end of 2007, officials have repeatedly resorted to torture for the apparent purpose of securing confessions from security suspects. So you have all of that. So I'm going to go into more detail about all of this in the second video. Another thing that I also wanted to emphasize is that I hope that the Bsiyoni and the BICI, I hope they realize that the police, the Bahraini police, actually they don't allow local native Shias to serve on it. They actually import foreign mercenaries from Pakistan and the rest of the Middle East in order to brutally dominate the Shias. I hope that they also do acknowledge that there were enforced disappearances for months and that this is a complete violation of international standards. Do they fully realize this? That is also further evidence of a state policy to abuse your public. So I find it quite shocking that Bsiyoni is attacking human rights activists that in Bahrain that have devoted their whole lives to try to make the cases of torture well known, and that have and who wants people to be held accountable for it, and that Bsiyoni is instead giving interviews to state propaganda outlets that are going to use every word he says to deliberately support the state's torture campaign. So this is absolutely incredible. So I'm now going to continue, and I'm going to go into more detail now in the second video. Thank you.